Hi everybody, this is Katje. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been away for a while, but it's good to be back. So I wanted to begin this evening by modeling for you an outfit, parts of which that I've worn before, but I wanted to return to it tonight. This is a sort of gray mid-length dress, knee-length dress that has a gray pane pattern in it. That's from Banana Republic. I'm also wearing Calvin Klein high heels, which I have worn before with my black nylon stockings. And as an accessory, I have these kind of off-color, sort of, I guess, puce-colored beads, almost like pearls. And I have my Kate Spade purse. So I wanted to model that for you, and I wanted to wear a business outfit this evening because I wanted to get back to business since it's been a while since I've done that. Let me give you the full effect of this outfit. Again, it's good to see everybody again. I'm sorry that I haven't been on recently, but I was basically need a little time off, and I have been doing several projects that I'm engaged in right now. So I just kind of needed a little time to gather and have a little quiet time and maybe return to myself a bit before I started to go back into making some videos. And what I want to do tonight is say a little bit more about Zen Buddhism. This was something that I was discussing in my last video. So what I want to do tonight is quite simply share with you what I consider to be quite possibly the most beautiful and successful, most powerful Zen koan that I have so far encountered. And this is a koan that was composed by Muman. It's part of the Gateless Gate that I mentioned last time. So what I'm going to do tonight is read this koan for you. This is actually the first koan in the entire collection of the Gateless Gate. And I'm going to read the koan, then I'm going to read Muman's, the monk's commentary about it, the Zen Master's commentary, and then I'm going to say some things about it that I hope will help to clarify it for you. So let's just get right down to business here. The name of this koan is, give me just one second. The name of this koan is Joshu's Dog. Joshu's Dog. Joshu, Joshu's Dog. So here's how the koan goes. A monk asked Joshu, a Chinese Zen master, has a dog Buddha nature or not? Joshu answered, Mu, M-U, Mu. And in parentheses or in brackets it says, Mu is the negative symbol in Chinese meaning no thing or nay. That's the koan. Now here's Muman's comment on this koan. Muman says, to realize Zen, one has to pass through the barrier of the patriarchs. Enlightenment always comes after the road of thinking is blocked. If you do not pass the barrier of the patriarchs, or if your thinking road is not blocked, whatever you think, whatever you do, is like a tangling ghost. You may ask, what is a barrier of a patriarch? This one word, mu, is it. Sorry, let me just fix my screen there. Okay, I wanted to make sure that we didn't... Oops. Okay, so that's the beginning of the commentary, and he continues. This is the barrier of Zen. If you pass through it, you will see Joshu face to face. Then you can walk hand in hand with the whole line of patriarchs. Is this not a pleasant thing to do? If you want to pass this barrier, you must work through every bone in your body, every pore of your skin filled with this question. What is Mu? And carry it day and night. Do not believe it is the common negative symbol meaning nothing. It is not nothingness, the opposite of existence. If you really want to pass this barrier, you should feel like drinking a hot iron ball that you can neither swallow nor spit out. Then your previous lesser knowledge disappears. As a fruit ripening in season, your subjectivity and objectivity naturally become one. It is like a dumb man who has a dream. He knows about it, but he cannot tell it. When he enters this condition, his ego shell is crushed, and he can shape heaven and move earth. He can shape the heaven and move the earth. He is like a great warrior with a sharp sword. If a Buddha stands in his way, he will cut him down. If a patriarch offers him any obstacle, he will kill him, and he will be free in his way of birth and death. He can enter any world as if it were his own playground. I will tell you how to do this with this comb. Just concentrate your whole energy into this move, and do not allow any discontinuation. When you enter this mood, and there is no discontinuation, your attainment will be as a candle burning and illuminating the whole universe. So here is the koan one more time, and that's the conclusion. Has a dog Buddha nature? This is the most serious question of all. If you say yes or no, you have lost your own Buddha nature. So that's the koan. Now, what I'm going to do is say what I think is very insightful about this, and this is only one way of interpreting this. There are others, but I think, again, this is probably one of the most powerful and beautiful koans of all. So let's just think about it a little bit, and I'm just going to comment somewhat randomly on various things that come up in this koan and that might come up in meditating on it. So suppose that I become drawn into this koan to the point that, well, I'm asking myself this question: does a dog have a Buddha nature or not? And I rack my brains day and night, and I think about it, let's say for an extended period of time. And so I'm really preoccupied with this. I can't come up with any answer. If I say yes, Mulan has already said, well, that's not an answer. No is not an answer. Somehow Mu is the answer to this koan. So I keep wondering, well, how could that possibly be? What is he trying to say? What is the point of this? And I'm giving myself a headache. So in the middle of this, at some point I stop. And perhaps one thing I do is I forget all about it because I have to go feed my dog. Right there. Right there is the insight. I have to go feed my dog, and at that moment, I stop thinking about the koan. There is no koan for me anymore. There is no question about the Buddha nature. I leave it behind, and I go on to do something else. And the dog, in this particular instance, is the occasion for my just forgetting all about the koan. Just like when you're dealing with any kind of problem or question, at some point, you're going to leave it behind and do something else. So I forget about this koan, and I go to feed my dog. And all of a sudden I see, well, that's the answer, because this has enabled me to pass through the gateless gate. I'm no longer thinking about the koan, I'm thinking about feeding my dog. I'm no longer thinking about the question of whether a dog has a Buddha nature or not. I've moved on. In this case, I've moved on to feed my dog. So that the dog occurs both within the koan and beyond the koan, and it's Mu. In other words, Mu is kind of a blank space that can be filled in, a blank, if you will, that can be filled in by anything. And it occurs in the koan and outside the koan when I forget all about it and go do something else. Let's take another example. Suppose I'm asking myself the question, well, let's see, does a tree have a Buddha nature? Does the tree have a Buddha nature? And I think about this and I think about this, and then at some point I get tired and I decide to go for a walk in the park, and I lean up against a tree. I'm not thinking about the koan anymore. I forget all about it, and then to rest a little bit, I lean up against the tree. Snap. Once again, I've passed through the gateless gate, because in the natural course of leaving this koan behind, where I was racking my brain about whether a tree has a Buddha nature, I've moved on to something else, forgotten all about it. There isn't any problem for me anymore, and I'm leaning up against the tree, so that the tree is Mu. Mu is a placeholder or a blank for anything. And so, like Muman says, I can return to this riddle or this koan over and over and over again, and I can ask, well, is this particular thing something that has a Buddha nature or not? And I can think about that. I can rack my brain. I can be in this condition where it's almost like I'm swallowing a hot coal or whatever it is that he said exactly there, that I'm in this state of very, my thinking is blocked, but at some point I leave it behind. I can't go on. Maybe I fall asleep and I have a dream. Suppose I'm asking myself, oh, well, does a sparrow have a Buddha nature? Does a drop of water have a Buddha nature? And I keep thinking about this, and then at some point I fall asleep and I have a dream about a sparrow or a drop of water. Moo. Once again, something that occurs in the cone also occurs outside of it when I leave it behind and return to the flow of existence into life, where there isn't any cone for me anymore. There simply is moo that's moved now beyond this situation of wrestling with a problem, and I don't feel any stress about it. And so that's the answer. There isn't any answer except to move on through the gateless gate, where the gateless gate is moo, and moo can be anything. Anything at all. It could be another person, it could be a tree, it could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a flower. Does a flower have a Buddha nature or not? And I think about it, and I think about it, and then at some point I have to go and pick up flowers for my mother, and all of a sudden, and when I do that, I forget all about this silly cone, and I go pick up the flowers for my mother. There's moo again. I'm no longer thinking about whether flowers have a Buddha nature. I've moved beyond that. The cone has been left behind. I've forgotten it, and I'm occupying myself with flowers. So moo, in this instance, moo as the flowers that occur in the cone, and then beyond it, the gateless gate, that is the way through this particular riddle. And you can see that you can return to it again and again, regardless of what particular example is used to tell the cone. You can return to this again and again and again, and each time you can move through it. At some point, you're going to have to leave the thing behind. And either the thing that you're thinking about or maybe something else will be the occasion for you just moving on with your life out of practical necessity, and you forget all about the cone, and all of a sudden you've passed to the gateless gate. You can go back to it like Mulan says. I can go through countless many worlds, countless many examples, and your experience, it seems to me, at least my experience in meditating on this cone, is that when you do this, when you practice this technique of sort of moving through the gateless gate in the way that I've explained, or tried to explain, you find that your entire life begins to take on a kind of calmness, or at least this part of your life that you're devoting to this practice and moving through the cone in the way that I've described, it takes on a kind of serene, tranquil, sort of even-handedness. Things are very, very level. Things are very, very calm. You find yourself less stressed, and you can go back to it again and again and move through it again and again. So for this reason, I really do think that this is probably one of the most beautiful and powerful and effective cones that I have ever encountered. I don't think it's any accident that it occurs at the beginning of the gateless gate, because it sets the tone for all the other examples that are given in that particular collection. So that's what I wanted to talk about this evening. Again, it's good to be back with you. I hope that everybody is having a wonderful summer, and I look forward to making some more videos that I hope you'll find interesting. But until then, this is Katje. I wish everyone, as always, a peaceful, a restful, and an enjoyable good evening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, think about Mu and Zen Buddhism, and some of the other questions maybe that I have discussed. And I look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your patience. I like and care for every one of you. So take care, and until next time, this is Katje. Bye-bye.